Anthony Smith joining us right now. It was amazing. Anthony's like, man, I'm going to show up to the watch party. I was like, cool, man. Anthony showed up. I think it was 13 seconds left on the clock when you showed up, Anthony. That was great.
Yeah, it was it was a really good 13 seconds though.
You know what was the best part about it? Even you were outraged by the 50-45 and you didn't watch the fight.
Yeah, right. I was like, wait a second. That doesn't make any sense.
By the way, what is this situation that we got going on here? Do you have, is this the Believe You Me money flowing in here? Like, it looks like you're in a different spot than usual. The camera is different. The mic, what is going on here?
Yeah. Yeah, it's flowing. The show is doing fantastic.
Wow.
This is it's not finished yet. This is my podcasting room. Like, look, I don't even have a door handle right there yet.
Oh,
so,
right. You don't have a light switch either. You don't have a light switch.
No, I just painted it. So it's freshly painted. I got the bar over here. It's going well.
You paint it yourself or you have someone to paint it for you?
I painted this room. Yeah.
Wow, what a man. You're a man's man.
I didn't build the room, but I painted it.
Okay. And you got a bar over there. It's like a real like podcast / man cave.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did Bisping ask you to like name it after him? Call it like the
No.
Okay.
No. He was he's happy. I got to do something about the echo in here. But other than that, it's going well.
I think it's pretty good. We've certainly heard worse. So I think it's great. Thank you for doing this. Great to see you this weekend. It was really nice that you stopped by, all jokes aside. I appreciate it. Lot to talk to you about. And let's start with Saturday night if we can, because there's that clip that kind of went viral, obviously stemming from the post-fight show. And you were the first person that came to mind watching the main event. Everyone knows by now, fight ends in a draw, split draw. 15 minutes later, we find out that there's a brand new light heavyweight title fight going down January 21st in Brazil, UFC 283. Jamahal Hill, who was supposed to be your opponent against Glover Teixeira. And the first thing I thought, because I just spoke to you about it, was like, oh, I thought you guys were fighting in March, Jamahal Hill versus Anthony Smith. So did you in fact find out, like when that clip, did they give you a heads up in your ear and then you had a moment, or was it truly when the host Ashley Brewer said it was when you found out you were no longer fighting Jamahal Hill?
Jake came in my ear.
Corporate Jake.
I don't know. Yeah, Corporate Jake came in my ear. I'm not even exact. Maybe 3 seconds before it came out of her mouth. Said just and Jake. Like, credit to Jake for like trying to do his best to give me the best heads up he could, but it was as fast as they could get it to me. Jake popped in and said, "Hey, heads up, they're going to announce Jamahal Hill versus Glover for the title." And I was like, and then she said it, and I was like, God damn it.
And you can't even react when he's saying it.
It sucks.
Yeah, and that's good on him for at least telling you that. But as you said, 3 seconds, not a lot of time to digest. What is going through your mind when you hear this?
Mm-hmm. Just not again. Like, I'm not trying to pretend that I got a terrible life or whatever, but I've just been on the wrong end of it for a while. Like, since the Span fight, it's been nothing but terrible shit happening. It's the surgery. I had to have surgery after the Span fight, then the staph infection, then I battle back from that. And then right when camp starts, my mom dies. And then I battle through the training camp. And then I break my ankle in the Ankalaev fight when I felt like it was going well, and then surgery. And then, I battle back from that. And I'm like, I thought the Jamahal Hill thing was going good. I was starting to get to a positive place, like it just dealing with the loss of my mom and just other personal stuff, I just kind of battled through it. And like, personally, I was starting to like really turn the corner and to be in a really positive spot. And then I don't know, then this happens. It's just, it's I wasn't directed at anybody specifically, because I understand all parties involved. I understand their positions and everyone has to do what they have to do. But I was really angry.
How long did it take for you to come down?
Sometime today.
Oh, really? You still felt for several days that anger?
Yeah, that's why I didn't post anything. I denied all media requests. The BYM got pushed back until yesterday.
Oh, wow.
I knew that I'd flip out, and it's not directed at any individual person. That's the worst part. I'm just angry, And it's just some of it's at life, some of it's at circumstance, some of it's at myself. It's just. But as far as like, I'm not mad at Jamal. I'm not mad at the UFC. I'm not like it just sucks.
Is there a part of you that wishes it didn't go down like that in the sense that, all right, at least, you can talk to them about it. It's not when you're on air. Let's try to decide. Maybe you can negotiate. Maybe you can make the pitch that you're in the title, something. The way it went down, is that part of what bothered you?
No, not really. It was just that I lost the fight. It was that I lost the fight. That Jamal was on a run. He's streaking. It's a fantastic opponent. I like Jamal. Like I was kind of pumped. Like I get to go in there. I get to fight someone that I actually really like. There's no bullshit. There's no drama. There's no trash talk. We just go in, we do the damn thing, and the cards fall where they fall. I was really excited about that. And then it would have put me into a really good spot. So, I don't think anybody wants to find out like that. I don't think it was malicious. You know what I mean? Like, I think it was just an oversight. Um, I talked to Mick Maynard uh, 2 minutes after I got off of air, and he didn't even know I was there. So, like,
Hmm.
I don't think it was malicious. It was just an oversight.
Okay. By the way, if they would have offered you January 21st, like if they felt like, all right, this could involve you, would you have been able to take that fight, or is that too soon?
Yeah, I would have. I would
Okay.
have.
Um,
Yeah.
and did you have a bout agreement? Like, did you have a signed bout agreement for Jamal Hill?
No, no.
Okay.
It was just all verbal. Yeah.
Right. Is that part of the reason why they're able to do this, or do you think if there was a side bout agreement, they could do it?
I think they still can anyways. I think that those bout agreements are more for us. There's a lot of times I don't sign the bout agreement until I get to fight week
Oh
and,
wow,
and check in. Yeah.
really? Um,
Hmm.
and what do you make of the decision? Like, if you're able to kind of put your media hat on, and I know this is very personal to you, but like the decision after this fight to then make another title fight on January 21st, not involving the two guys who just fought this past Saturday. If you're able to remove yourself, which I know may be very, very hard, but what did you make of the decision of doing this so quickly after Saturday's main event?
I think that they're just trying to. It seems like they're trying to close like an open circle. With the Yuri kind of just relinquishing the title, and then them like, oh, this works out perfect. We have this fix. We have this situation where we already have two top level light heavyweights. One's already held the title before. The other one's right in title contention. Let's just make that fight. So that's supposed to close the loop. And then when it doesn't happen, I think that honestly think that Brazil is a fantastic market for the UFC. I think that there's some intrigue there. I think that they're trying to add to that card, and I think they owe Glover. So I think that that's some of it. Like, all right, well, this is an opportunity to get Glover back, add some pop to that card. I mean, it makes sense, and then you don't have like a not because what do you do if it's not those two guys?
Mm,
Like I think you can make that fight right now because there is no champion, and let's get this moving. But if you start putting time, then I think it gives a lot of people opportunities to start inserting themselves and making arguments. It's easy just to make it right then and there. And I get that. Like the wheels of business have to keep turning.
Who do you think won the main event?
Jan Blachowicz, in my opinion.
Wow. Which rounds? Do you remember?
The first three.
Okay. So you didn't think Magomed or that it was a draw. You thought Jan deserved. Even Jan doesn't even think like he deserved to win.
Well, two and see, I didn't get it when he said that either
Yeah.
because I thought 2 and 3 was super decisive. 4 and 5, extremely decisive. I didn't see a 10-8 in the fifth round.
Right. Me neither.
That's me personally, but and I thought Jan won the first round. It was close, so I wouldn't argue with someone that says I think Uncle Life won the first round, but in my opinion, watching it and then after watching it back, I still think Blachowicz won the first round. So I thought it was 3-2 Blachowicz.
One of those super, super close fights, and another reminder of how like the system that we have, the scoring system, at times could lead to these somewhat polarizing and controversial decisions. So I don't disagree with someone who said Jan or Magomed or even draw. I can understand it if you think that fifth round was a 10-8. One thing I didn't agree on was that the main event was bad. Like Dana seemed really mad about the main event. I didn't think it was like a boring fight. Did you?
I thought the last two rounds sucked,
Okay.
and that's what I think typically people remember is the last thing that they seen. because I was watching the round, like the fourth round, thinking, all right, let's just get through this round and let's get Blachowicz back on his feet so we can have a more exciting and fun to watch fight. Uh, and then it was an immediate takedown in the fifth. So we're like,
Right.
that sucks. Um, and I didn't care who won. It doesn't matter to me. I don't really have a horse in that race. But um, honestly, it might have been better. It would have been better for me for Ankalaev to win. But um, yeah, it just wasn't the most exciting end to it. And then we got left definitely lost after the decision was read for sure.
You think it would have been better for you if Ankalaev won as opposed to Jan? I would think the opposite.
Well, I think personally, I want to fight that guy again.
Okay.
Um, and I think that anytime anyone beats you and they go on to continue to do well, it ages better.
Okay.
Like if someone beats you and then they lose 5 in a row or something, that sucks.
Right. Right. Okay. I get that. I was just thinking if Jan wins, you can go in there because it's a fresh opponent, but I understand that line of thinking as well. So this was back on Saturday. It's been what, 4 or 5 days since. Where do you stand? Do you know what you're going to do next? Do you know who you're going to fight?
I don't. I don't. There has been some talks about potentially being the backup in Brazil. Um, and I talked to them today, and I'm still fighting in March. So no opponent yet, but they're adamant that they'll have an opponent for me March
Are you going to be the backup in Brazil?
if they ask me to. Yeah.
Okay. Is this something that you're suggesting or that they're suggesting?
Um, I think them. I think they came to
Oh,
us. Yeah.
so you would be the backup in Brazil in January, and then if that fight goes through, you're fighting in March.
Yeah, if they give me the official offer and actually and
Yeah.
ask like, will you be the backup in Brazil? Yeah, for sure.
Are you okay with that? That's two. I mean, I don't think you cut a tremendous amount of weight, but that's like 2 training camps, so to speak, in the span of 2 months.
No, it essentially would just be one. So I would just
Okay.
train, continue to because I'd be training right now for a March fight anyways.
Right. Right.
So we would pick it up a little bit until we get close to the January date, and then just cut the weight. And if it doesn't happen, then we just come back and continue training.
Jamal told me on Monday that he tried to reach out to you before the news got out, but then ultimately it got out. Is that accurate? Did you get a message from him in retrospect, like that? Did he try to get a hold of you beforehand?
Initially, it was from Brian, his manager.
Brian Butler, yeah.
But yeah, he did.
That's pretty cool. And then he said that he extended an invitation to you to help him train for Glover. Is that accurate?
It is. Yeah.
Are you going to do it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. So you're going to go to Detroit or Grand Rapids?
Yeah, we got to figure that out. Just the dates. It's not going to have to be for a super long period of time, but if he wanted to come here or meet me in Denver, we'll figure out the logistics. But yeah,
Wow. Are you surprised that he offered you that?
not really, to be honest with you. Not really. Jamal and I have always been very friendly. We're kind of cut from the same cloth a little bit. We're as weird as it would seem, we probably seem from the outside like we're two completely different types of personalities, but he's a father of like 6 kids. He's just chasing this dream to change his family's life forever. He's aside from what maybe people think about Jamal, he's extremely respectful. He's been nothing but respectful to me. From the first day I met him, from his UFC debut. Um, he's always said nice things about me to me. We've never had a beef. I don't know how anybody has a beef with that guy. He doesn't seem to give a shit about the small stupid stuff. He's about respect, and I get along with people like that.
What about, I mean, you guys are kind of in the same orbit, training with a guy who you may very well fight this year, or I should say next year, within the next year, right? How do you feel about that?
It doesn't bother me at all. It didn't seem weird to me. And maybe to some people, if they're really secretive or they're some people are superstitious or they like John Jones doesn't even want to see his opponent the week of the fight. Like some people are like that, and which is understandable. But I'm a different guy every 6 months, anyways. So it just doesn't really matter to me. Like if we train together and then we both show up the night of the fight, and one of us is using the same shit that worked before, you deserve to lose. you
Right.
know, it's just not that big of a deal, and it's not like I don't suspect we're going to be doing lots of sparring. I think he just wants my insight on maybe some of the experiences I had with Glover. Um, I don't think that I'm probably pulling the curtain too far back here by saying that Jamal's biggest hurdle he's going to have to overcome is Glover's grappling. Um, like I'm not sure that I would even have anything to say to Jamal about his striking. I think that he's the better, more elusive, harder hitting striker in that fight. Um, so I'm not sure that there is anything for me to say there. I think he's fine just doing his thing the way he does it. But the grappling wise, I don't, I'm really confident in my top pressure in my game, and that's where Glover's the best. And so Glover does things a little different than a lot of people. His MMA jiu-jitsu is different than maybe a fundamental Brazilian jiu-jitsu coach would be, So I think I just bring a different insight, So I think it'd be more talking through positions and stuff like that. I don't think we're going to be, battling head to head.
By the way, not rooting for this, but like, could you imagine you guys train together and then something happens and then you end up fighting him on January 21st?
That'd be wild, right?
That'd be crazy. That
That'd
would
be
be
nuts. What a
insane.
story.
Yes, that would be
And
nuts.
we're so similar. Like it's whatever. Like if that's what happens, that's what happens. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Since he's at least for now unavailable, do you have a preference who you fight in March?
Not really. Not really. I think that there's a couple people. Excuse me. I think there's a couple opportunities right now if I really wanted to sign a fight right now. I think there's a couple fights happening soon, like even on that January card that I think we could probably hang out and wait for. So yeah, I don't really have a preference at all. I just want to fight. I'm
Yeah.
just ready to get back at it. That Johnny Walker Paul Craig fight is always super interesting. Uh, and honestly, I could care less about Johnny Walker. I'll fight him or not fight him. It doesn't matter to me. But um, I've always wanted to fight Paul Craig.
Wow.
Not
Why?
in any. Not in any. It's not. There's no disrespect. Like Bisbing and I have had Paul Craig on before, and we've actually talked about it. Like it would just be a fun fight.
Hmm.
He's a cool guy. Um, he's really funny, and he's his claim is he got the best jiu-jitsu in the division, and I disagree. And I think it would be fun to just figure it out. I think it'd be a fun fight.
Yeah, I agree with that. By the way, what did you make of the scorecards in the co-main event? Did you score it for Paddy or Jared?
Do you know anyone other than the three people that judged that fight that thought Paddy won?
I guess for Paddy. I don't even know if he really
Really?
believes it. Well, I mean, he's claiming. I mean, he seemed.
Yeah. No, I always come off sounding like such a hater. When you have these conversations about people. I like Paddy. I like he's different. He's created something a little bit different. I think a little bit of it's inspired by Connor, but he's wild and crazy, and he's a good fighter. I don't think he's elite, but he's a really good fighter. Um, I like his aggressiveness. I like his interviews, and I have no issue with him. But I think he lost that fight 30-27. I think he makes a lot of mistakes. His chin's up in the air. He never gets his head off the center line. His hands are down. He's flat footed. Um, he's overly aggressive, and then he's gotten away with it up to this point because of the caliber of guys that he's fighting. Um, I got a lot of love for Jared Gordon as well, but he doesn't quite carry the power in his hands to back off a big, strong guy like Paddy Pimblett. And I think Paddy's able to take some of those shots and have the power that he carries because he does allow himself to get so heavy in between fights.
Mm.
So I think that he does carry that with him a little bit. But I think the second that he runs into a guy that's got really serious lights out power in his hands and isn't afraid to wrestle and grapple with Paddy, I think he's got serious problems. If I was Paddy Pimblett, I would avoid Ilia Topuria at all costs.
So once again, it's like every few months, judging becomes a hot topic in the sport. The 50 to 45, this scorecard, even the main event scorecard. I'm of the mindset now, like let's just weed out the bad guys, and then because that's the easiest thing that you can do, and then we could fix the system because we've been talking about this system for 20 something years, and no one's going into the lab to fix it. Let's just get rid of the dinosaurs who clearly don't know what they're looking at, who have agendas, who have conflicts. What is your take on the state of judging? And do you have any thoughts on what could be done tomorrow, let alone 2, 3, 4 years down the line?
I've always been really critical of refs and judges, and it's because this shit is serious. Like this change, like Jared Gordon deserved that win. Like he's never gonna get an opportunity like that probably ever again. Like could he build his way up and end up in some good spots for sure? But to be the showstopper for the Paddy Pimblett hype train, he's not gonna have that opportunity again. Um, and that's unfortunate. He didn't get the second half of his check. So we need to get people in those seats that understand what the hell they're looking at. Like if a judge doesn't understand, think of this sequence, right? A guy gets a takedown. He passes from full guard to half guard, or from full guard to half guard, right? Lands 3 or 4 really hard shots. And then, but it takes a little while. You know, this is over a period of 2.5 or 3 minutes. And then he passes the side control and he lands a few shots there. Guy on the bottom scrambles to his feet. Rounds, there's 10 seconds left in the round. Guy on the bottom throws a flurry of 20 punches, doesn't land really anything hard at all. That round ends. A lot of those judges, most of them, will score that round for the guy that spent most of the time on the bottom. We need people in those seats that understand how hard it is to get a takedown in the UFC, to then pass someone's guard, which is goddamn impossible sometimes, then to control someone enough to where you can lift your body weight and chest off of them to land those shots. And so just because they scramble away at the end, all of us as fighters and anybody that knows shit about fighting knows who won that exchange. The people in the seats should also know that. And that's the problem. We need people that know what the fuck they're looking at. It drives me absolutely crazy that these nerds in suits, you know, sitting behind desks in big buildings with cushy paychecks to not do shit are the ones making the decisions on our career. Why are there not guys that have spent a lifetime doing this and after they retire or after they're done coaching? Or I understand that there's going to be, I think the one knock on having former fighters or coaches or whatever, having those kind of people in judging positions, I think the argument is the biases in their styles or maybe people they're connected to, but it can't be any worse than what we're doing now. So I don't necessarily fully subscribe that we need former fighters or whatever in those seats, but at least people that understand each intricate part of the game. Like I heard a story, I think it was yesterday, that what I don't remember what gym it was, but they had a bunch of judges come into like a sparring session, and like there was like judges that judge in the UFC, and like one of them left because he couldn't even understand what was happening. Like the questions that were being asked in this during the sparring session apparently were just mind blowing. Like that shouldn't happen.
Mm.
That shouldn't happen. There's nothing that's going to happen in the UFC that I would never understand. And I think that the people judging these contests should be exactly the same.
Yeah, and there's honestly, there's just way too many conflicts. Like the judges, I think, should not be friends with the fighters, should not go out with them, should not eat with them, should not try to give them jobs as stuntmen on their movies. Like it's just a problem. It's a problem, and he's at the
Well, I
top
think,
of.
and that's always the argument that you get that people will give you, especially athletic commissions will say is there's too many conflicts because you train with all these people.
Right.
MMA is a small sport. It's very homegrown, you know, like everybody knows everybody. So if that's the case, then that can't happen on the other side either.
Of course. By the way, how can I fix this whole thing with you and Connor? Can I fix this? Like, what can I do? I mean, I don't
I
like
don't
this.
I don't know why he's so mad.
Why
I
does
don't
it
know why
always
he
seem
gets
to
so
come up
mad.
with you? Why do you seem to be the guy that always gets him so fired up? Why is this? Why does he have this thing
Because
with you?
I think like if you or another member in the media or someone else says something about Connor, I think he just writes you guys off as just media. Like, no one gives a fuck what he says because he's just a media guy. Um, I think when some other fighters say stuff about Connor, it's an attack or it's a attempt to make him angry to potentially get a fight with him, or it's a shot at getting some clicks or some publicity. I don't give a shit about any of that stuff. I'm never gonna fight Connor. I'm not in his weight class. Him being mad at me makes me no more money. Like I don't care about the clicks. I would rather people not write about it because it's always the same shit. You know, it's taken out of context, and I look
Right.
like I'm just being a hater. So, um, I think that he understands I think I'm respected. I think that people respect my opinion, and I think Conor thinks that when people hear what I say, they go, "Oh yeah, that kind of makes sense," and he doesn't want that. Like, I'm just out here speaking my truth. You know what I mean? And if he doesn't like it, like, I don't know what to tell you. Like,
What,
I don't know.
when stuff like that happens, is there any part of you, because I think you and Bisping do a great thing. And by the way, check out the Believe You Me podcast, and you've got the YouTube channel. And I know you have your own YouTube channel, which you're firing up, which I think is great because I've long said that you're one of the smartest and best and most honest analysts in the game. And you just tell it like it is. And you're obviously very, very well spoken, not to mention the best texter in the game as well. I mean, the punctuation is always on point. But when stuff like that happens, and I think it's like on a Saturday morning or something, are you ever like, man, fuck this. I don't want to do this. This is not fun. I don't need to deal with this shit. Life was a little more simple when I was just a fighter. And, because you do a 2-hour show with Bisping or hour show with Bisping and you're talking about the hot topics. Like I talk about like any media guy, you're a media guy. And then they take a slice of it and then he sees it and goes, is there ever a part of you that's like, man, this is no fun? Or do you not care?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's annoying because I don't care what most people think. What I don't want is my peers to continually think I'm taking shots at them. I wasn't taking a shot at Conor. I was asked a question, like it's a topic that came up during the podcast, and I gave my honest answer. Had Conor listened to it from beginning to end, he's still a fighter at heart. I would almost guarantee that he probably understands why I feel like I feel. Like maybe he doesn't give a shit, which he probably doesn't, but he can at least understand. That's all I want. Like I want my peers to understand my point of view. I don't need them to agree with it. I don't need them to think that I'm the smartest guy in the room because I'm not. I'm just giving my opinion. But I don't want them to like it's the headline. When I had said that stuff about John Jones, where I don't remember, someone asked a question, maybe it was Luke Thomas. And I said, well, John Jones is not that good. And then I went on to explain to you why John Jones is the best fighter walking planet Earth. But like the only part that gets clipped is where I started off by John Jones is not that. What I meant by that was he's not an elite striker. He's not an elite jiu-jitsu guy. He's not an elite wrestler. Like he is not a specialist anywhere. But the way he puts it all together with his decision making and the way that he uses his tools so I don't know, flawlessly at times, is what makes him great. But anyways, they just clipped the first part. So then what happens? Then John Jones, that's all he sees is Anthony Smith says John Jones is not that good. No one gives a shit about how I explained to everyone why I think John Jones is the greatest of all time. Like that's the shit that drives me crazy. Like if you want to, like if there's some way to capture exactly what I said in context, I'll stand by all of it. But I'm not. I hate the one line.
Right.
Like, oh my God, Anthony's talking shit again. Like, is there anybody in this game that feels like what I said about Conor was wrong?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so.
Right.
I don't think so. Ask any fighter, like especially any fighter that's been injured.
Right.
Like, am I mad at Conor for doing that, or am I mad that I can't?
Right.
I don't know. It's a great question. Like, I don't know, but either way, I'm not the only one that feels like that. And I'm not the only one that's been saying it. So I don't know why he's just mad at me.
Well, part of the reason why he's mad at you, part of the reason why this gets clipped off is because you're doing such a great job. So I hope you know that. And
thank you.
You're a class act. The way you're handling this situation, I don't know if a lot of, and maybe if we would have talked on Monday, the tone would have been different. And so maybe it was good that it was, maybe it was good that it was on a Wednesday. Great to see you as always. I'm sorry this happened, but hopefully, hey, maybe you get a little payday for January and then fight in March and everything's right in the world again. So thanks, man. Appreciate you very much.
I appreciate you, Ariel. Take care, man.
All right, there he is. Anthony Smith, always the class act.